Welcome home. We are WNST. Towson, Baltimore. Baltimore Positive. We are positively in Owings Mills. And I'm not even here for the football, believe it or not. I came for the oysters. We're at Mama's on the half shell. Not in Canton anymore. Certainly not on Canton Square, where I once said Canton Square should be renamed Scunny Square. I said that right in the aftermath of his death. It's been a dozen years, but his kid is here. This is Finn McCusker. We're out here in Owings Mills. It's all brought to you by friends at the Maryland Lottery. Hopefully a lucky batch. Had some listeners here and had a guy that was in my 2008 So You Want to Be a Sports Guy competition, the one that Luke won, and he's pushing a 4-month-old baby over there, still talking NBA. I hope he wins. Maryland Lottery hands these out. We're doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. We're moving around to places where they have crab cakes, including our friends over at Pizza John's in Essex. We'll be back at Coco's soon. I think that date's December 4. I'm confirming dates right now with Costas during the holidays. We're certainly going to be back down at Fadley's. I think that's December the 12th in time for the holidays to ship crab cakes, eat oysters. It's a month with an R. And our friends at Jiffy Lube power us up in these cases as well, sending Luke out here to Owings Mills to cover all things Ravens. But we're not here to talk about Ravens today. We're here to talk about oysters. Our friends at Curio Wellness and Foreign Daughter, along with Liberty Pure Solutions, have sent us out on 26 oysters in 26 days in 26 ways. I'm so past that I ordered more oysters here. You can find that out in the Oyster Tour at the front of BaltimorePositive.com on the Daily Countdown. And a shout-out to Ray Bachman, my dude, who is battling cancer, my longtime executive producer. We enjoyed day 6 with him. There is a link to a GoFundMe page on the Ray page where if you want to help him out through this hard time. He's doing okay. And I know Ray through rock and roll and through sports. And, man, during the break, you told me, you're a music dude, right?
I am. I'm a big jam band guy, and a lot of people don't like it.
So you're fishy, you're daddy.
Not fish.
Whoa.
Yeah,
they are the jam band.
They are. That's the one I don't like. I've seen Billy Strings 20 times. I've gone and seen Humphreys McGee a dozen times. I've seen a handful of Widespread Panic. That's one of my go-tos.
Widespread's your thing. Okay, so, yep. I know a lot of people that are Widespread. OAR on that vein or no?
I've seen them a handful of times.
Okay, I'm just trying to think. What's the band that all the kids are listening to? Come on now. They're in the Dead vein and the Fish vein. Come on, man. Everybody's like Goose.
Yep, I have.
That's not your thing.
Not my thing. I'm more of
clearly it's not my thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know the name of the damn band.
Yep.
You know. So so I'm classic rock. So this crazy Colts belt buckle that I'm not going to take off again. I have a collection of classic rock bands, and that's my thing. So Springsteen did not have a belt buckle, but this involves your dad and your dad's death and where I was in time and space at that time, because you said out of season you served P.E. Island oysters here.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Year round?
Year round.
What's the framework of that? I don't know enough about oysters. It's salty, because it's at the top of the world, the water's fresh as hell, and P.E. Island, do you know that it was a landlocked island in that you had to have a boat to get off of it, right?
Yes, sir.
They never had a bridge, right? Mm-hmm. So in the 90s when the Skipjacks, and I'm honoring the Skipjacks today and honoring Jeff Amder, I even have my Skipjacks Time for Sports pennant clock that I got during the Oyster Tour over in Hamden last month, $25. I tried to negotiate. Dude wouldn't go down on it. I'm like, you know what? Is it 2 AA batteries? That's what I say, 2 AA batteries. I don't know.
One.
Does it say 1?
Yep, runs on 1.
See, my wife's like MacGyver. She'll wire this thing so it actually can work AC, or she'll try to figure out how to make it work for me. So it involves hockey, and it involves your father's death, and it involves Prince Edward Island. Mm-hmm. So, and it involves Billy Cundiff missing the kick, right? Okay? So Billy Cundiff missed the kick in New England. And I had trips planned to go to Indianapolis for that Super Bowl. And I would have made a lot of money, right? My company would have made a lot of money. My employees would have gotten bonuses that they would have denied getting later and all that stuff. So, nonetheless, that didn't happen. You know, Billy Cundiff missed the kick. John Harbaugh ate the timeout. We could talk, Good things happened the next year in New Orleans. I wrote a book. It was great. It's fine. But that particular year, Springsteen was touring in Europe. Okay. And I said to my wife, if Cundiff hits this kick, we're going to Europe, because we're going to make a little bit of money, Cundiff didn't make the kick. He missed the kick. Of course. So Bruce went to Europe, and my wife got cancer about a year and a half later, so we did a lot of traveling. We tried to see the world. We're glad we did. We went to see Bruce in Australia because the Ravens won the Super Bowl. So we went to Australia after that because but we missed out on Europe. So the closest I could come up with was Springsteen came back after touring Europe all summer, where I couldn't afford to go, and he played Moncton, New Brunswick. And Moncton, New Brunswick's like a hockey, hotbed up north, the whole thing. And I had never been to that part of the world. And by the time I've been to every stadium, every arena, every concert, I'm always looking for a weird place to go. So Moncton, New Brunswick. So all right, how do we get there? What are we gonna? We're gonna fly to New Hampshire with my wife. We're gonna rent a car. We're gonna drive through Maine. Well, let's get some blueberries, So let's see some bears. So let's go to Mount Katahdin. Let's see, Bahaba. So we did this trip where we drove up through Bahaba and had Maine lobster. That's what made me think about your lobster roll here, chilled lobster salad. And we drove up to Moncton, New Brunswick. And when we got there, we stayed in this man's house, and Bruce played a thing called magnetic field. There is a magnetic hill where your car goes backwards when you put it in neutral, but it goes uphill.
I've seen that.
Because of the magnet. That's what it's famous for. Dude was like Scunny. Built an ice cream stand around this magnet.
Of course.
That people had to drive to the magnet and sold them ice cream out in front, right? So we're there seeing all this weird ish, right? You're a boat guy. Tell me what you did in St. Augustine, and because you're a waterman like your father, right?
That's yeah, I was raised on the water since I could remember, and I lived in St. Augustine for about 6 years. I started as a jet ski and boat mechanic at one place, and next door was a big old fishing boat. First mate for there for a good while. Worked my way up, got my hours on the water.
Fishing boat, though.
Yes,
but not
sir.
like a tourist boat, but
No,
just fishing.
all fishing, straight fishing, offshore. No inshore, all offshore. Started out, got my
tuna, like all that big
thing.
thing?
Marlin,
Okay.
wahoo, mahi, anything we can get. We go bottom fishing for snappers, groupers, anything we can get, we'd bring it back for our customers. Ended up.
Tony Conrad wants to take me out crabbing one day, so I really want to do that. And my buddy Sammy Tudor, that I grew up with, played Little League. He has like a YouTube thing. He goes and catches these snakefish, snakeheads out, on Eastern Shore, and he's trying to get me out of bed early. And now you're like, I'm going to go do all this with all you guys. I got invited to go out to do the Marlin, and then they told me you get out of bed, you go 100 miles out, it's hot as hell, it's awful, it's terrible. You wait more, you get sunburned.
You might not catch a thing.
You come in, and I'm like, I'm just going to hang on 13th Street and stand underneath the scale.
Of course.
So, the water part of this is I grew up in Dundalk, but I'm not watery, although I did crab with, on Back River and Bear Creek. I mean, I'm not – I've baited I've been out on ponds. I've been out on reservoirs. Dan Rodricks has taken me fishing on a reservoir. Dan Rodricks has taken me fly fishing. And so, I mean, I've been fishing, but water and I don't know a lot about it. But that part of the world where I was when your dad passed up near Prince Edward Island, Hopewell Rocks is where tides begin and end on the planet. Okay. Right? It's Canadian. It's a big – just Google it. Hopewell Rocks. The tide changes 38 feet every day. So it's red clay along this cliff. It looks almost like Ireland would look, or Scotland, the rocky cliffs. And all the water goes down, and there's actually – you could take a picture underneath of this rock formation. It's very famous because the day we were there, the tide was in. We went up that weekend. We're in Moncton. I believe it was the day we lost your dad that this actually happened, that we were driving – to the warmest water. It's called Northumberland Strait. Shediac. Shediac has this giant shrimp out in the front. So nonetheless, Northumberland Strait's like warm water up there. It's weird. But we were headed to Prince Edward Island because of hockey. The one-time hockey coach of the Skipjacks and longtime NHL coach Doug McLean is from Prince Edward Island. And he and I had a relationship, and there were two players that played for the Skipjacks, the Red and the Capitals, a guy named Tyler Larder and a guy named Kent Painter. Funny enough, it's almost like Peyton Manning. His real name was Painter, Kent Painter. He played number 4. And they were from Prince Edward Island. And I'm a kid. We're all chasing girls. It's 1989. I'm 21. They're 22. Yeah, we drank beer together at PJ Cricket's. Your dad's joint wasn't open. Your dad was still probably at the beach at that point.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to know these guys, and they always told me about this place called Prince Edward. It's before you could Google it or whatever. They're like, yeah, you come up to the island, eh? And I'm like, well, they're like, well, how do I get there? Where is it? They're like, well, you have to take a boat.
Yep, no driving.
And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we like anywhere you go, you have to get on a boat or a helicopter, plane. And I'm like, all right. So always found it on the map. There were always players from PEI. It looked a little weird. It looked like European or something when you saw it in the hockey news. And because it had 3 letters, one like or Rhode Island, RI, PEI. And then you always saw it on oyster menus.
Oh, yeah.
PEI oysters in Provincetown, right? So, dude, I'm there. We lost your dad. I think it was that day, literally. And I woke up that morning. It was awful. And we're on vacation and we're driving. And we went to Prince Edward Island. And there's this magnificent bridge. Mm-hmm. This bridge that they built that was the modern marvel of Canada. It's the biggest bridge ever built in the history of Canada. And it's the bridge to Prince Edward Island. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to Prince Edward Island. We're going to go to Provincetown and have lunch. And this involves your dad being a cheapskate because your dad would love this story. So we drive Shediac, Northumberland straight. We're driving up. We're going to go to Prince Edward Island. And we get to the bridge. And the bridge is like $45 to cross. That look on your face would have been a look. I saw your father's look right there, right? So there's a visitor center.
Uh-huh.
And we're still thinking about going across the bridge. We came to go across the bridge. And the visitor center is like all Gucci and sexy, kind of like Mama's on the half shell right here in Owings Mill. It was lovely, And it was literally like a lighthouse, right? And it's this beautiful, appropriate to the Canadian wilderness.
Of course. Beautifully
built visitor center to pee before you get on the bridge, right? Mm-hmm. Change your mind if you want, I guess. They don't want you to change your mind. But what they're really proud of in this thing is building the bridge, right? So you go in there, and it's the history, the Inuit people and the native Canadians, I guess, is the Native Americans, right? And there's a room with a camera on. Think Disney World, Think like the Hershey Park Visitor Center, you know what I mean? And they had a film, and we got engrossed in it. 5 people died making the bridge. The bridge cost $1 billion. The richest man in Canada bequeathed the money to pay for it, and the tolls were going to pay back the foundation that was going to build a better environment and better for the fishermen and better for the way of life and the weed they're growing on PE Island. And it was always the strongest weed. Plug the Curio Wellness there. But so we get there. I think I was in a little bit of a funk because of your family situation, as now I'm recalling it. I'll get crazy. I won't be able to finish a story. I certainly won't laugh. But we sat and watched this movie, and it's this marvel. We peed. We read stories about the incredible Prince Edward Island agriculture and the oysters, and probably read about did all of that. And we walked out, and we looked up, and we got in the car. And it was $45 to cross the bridge.
Yeah, that's just...
I never went to Prince Edward Island.
I can imagine so. I wouldn't be going either.
So then I had to have Doug McClain on the show and tell him that I never made it.
Oh, my gosh.
He was so pissed at me. He's like, and here's the crazy thing, and you'll appreciate this more because you're a boat guy. He's like, so if it was $20 to put your car on a boat and take the ferry, I'm like... Yeah, I would have probably paid $50 to do that. I would have gotten a boat ride.
Yeah, you got a free boat ride out of it.
So there's my Prince Edward. So what kind of oysters are these, man? Finn McCusker's here listening to my crazy-ass stories. I'm going to let you tell some about your dad, but I have pictures of your dad. So this is your, if I were coming in here to do day 26 of the oyster, if this were day 26, this is what you would give me, right?
Of course. Yeah.
This is your dad's concoction?
This is actually not. This is more recent. We used to have Oysters Rockefeller on the menu for a long time. We still have that on there. This has been on pretty recently. We've always had grilled oysters. We need a little new flavors. Got our Parmesan herb right here, horseradish crust, and then the smoked paprika coming down the line right there.
I have not. I've had a Parmesan. Mm-hmm. I was at a lovely place, free plug for them, Dylan's Oyster in Hamden. Mm-hmm. And I'll be frank with you. I just snuck in. I was going to Pearl Jam that night. My wife was out of town. It was just my oyster of the day. I had an oyster every day for 26 days. Some days I did the show. Some days I snuck in. Some days I just had a shooter. And they had an oyster that was a grilled oyster. And I ate the whole batch because my wife wasn't with me. I gnawed them all. I ate every single one of them and bragged about how cheesy it tasted. And then I realized it didn't have any cheese at all. It was a breadcrumb that was like a seasoned. God, it's delicious. Go to Dylan's. I'm going to go back and apologize because I really thought it was a Parmesan because it had a garlicky, the texture on it though, which I guess, I mean, I know people that don't like cheese or can't tolerate cheese. It had a beautiful flavor, like a garlic forward flavor, but I thought it was Parmesan cheese, and it wasn't. So what? This is paprika and what now?
Just smoked paprika butter on top of there, and herbs on
Paprika
top.
butter. And are you recommending that I squirt the lemon on it or no?
I would try it as it is now.
Oh, natural.
If you need a little on there.
Oh, you got me
right
a
ahead.
fork. All right. So Finn McCusker's here. I want you to tell a story about your dad in some way about if he came in here and saw this thing. You told him that. You set me straight that he actually really did get in a kayak and go to Ocean City because I swear to God, I would have bet my life that was a tall tale. I would have bet anything. I would have lost my ass. I mean, I would have been the bet I shouldn't have made.
I can imagine you're with a lot of people. He told more tall tales than I think anybody I know.
I still don't believe that he really did that.
I'll be bringing you pictures and sending you pictures.
I think he drove to the bar, put the kayak in the water, and I think we've all been fooled.
That very well could have been.
Are there pictures from the edge of the shore of him?
Yes, there are. The whole crew are heading out.
All right. When they told me you had to go through to catch white marlin, I didn't want to do it anymore. And I like water and all that, but I'm not. I don't get seasick or whatever. I mean, I have been seasick, but I'm not. It's not my thing. It's just when I'm on a boat, I don't feel liberated like Jimmy Buffett. I feel trapped like I can't get the hell off. You know what I mean?
That's the exact opposite for me. That's my freedom out there. You see that open blue, there's nothing better to me.
And that's where these come from. So your oyster recovery partnership, we talk about that a little bit and talk about your place and your dad because I'm going to eat. And when I start eating, you got to start talking. So first things, which one should I have first?
I'd go smoked paprika right there.
That's nearest to me. Okay.
And these are all on Delaware Bay oysters. So they're damn close to local, pretty close by.
There's a Delaware establishment in Lake Dewey that has a really good crab cake. Even Batman, the late great Batman at Ocean City, was a friend of your dad. We lost Batman a couple of years. It was great that I can steal a Batman reference here. He would say to me, "Now look, don't tell anybody where I tell you go." He's
a raspy voice.
We always had, but he would say, "I don't want to piss anybody off. I'm friends with everybody down here." But he would say, if you want the best crab cake, go up to Woody's in Delaware.
Okay.
He would say, and I'm like, Mike, I'm not going to Delaware for a crab cake. I'm so sorry. It's the Maryland crab cake tour. It's not the Delaware crab cake tour. Or the oyster tour. So Howard's here. He's laughing at me because I'm wearing skipjack stuff. Where's your yellow jersey? I just told a Tyler Larder story about Prince Edward Island and how disappointed Dougie McLean was that I didn't go into Prince Edward Island. But it was a day your pop died. If your dad was here, he would say, I can't blame you. Because it was $45 to go into Prince Edward Island on that But the funniest thing is I really would have taken the boat. I would have had no problem taking a ferry. That really disappointed him.
I can imagine. So, yeah, he probably would have ended up kayaking over if he had
No wonder the
that.
Canadians think we're all jerks. You know? I love oysters, man. I've fallen in love with oysters. I haven't had one in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, got to get back into it.
That's delicious. I thought it was going to be spicy.
No,
because it's a red sauce, so I kind of feared it a little bit.
No, it's got a good enough kick, but it's not too overpowering, that's for sure.
All right, so I'm going to have the grilled. This is Parmesan, right?
Yes.
Now, this is going to be really like New
Orleans. That might be your horseradish crust.
Whoa.
They're very similar in looks.
You sure? Hold on, because I've never had a horseradish crust. That looks like it's got cheese.
Yeah, that's your Parmesan right there.
All right, I'm making sure because they do look similar. All right, I'm going to have this one. Is it buttery in here?
Buttery, oh yeah. Herbs, Parmesan, gets it all.
So this is going to be the one I had like in New Orleans that first night because that's an explosive flavor. I haven't had anything like that.
Yep. And when it comes to grilled oysters, we got plenty of people who go out. We'll do private events where we'll bring the grill to your house, bring the oysters. We'll have a big old event for you guys any way we can. So
I think this is my first Parmesan. I mean, I'm being honest. The one I had with Patrick on the Chow Hound down at the Fells Point Festival was butter. It was butter and garlic. And it didn't have any cheese in it.
Okay.
So this is butter, garlic, cheese?
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on. Let's see what you're doing here. I'm going to get a beer before this is over with. Yeah, that's really garlicky. That's nice in there. Oysters are great. They're fun, too.
They're great, and the ladies love it when you eat the oysters, that's for sure.
That's a myth.
Some say.
Dad's making that up, man. I got products over at Curio Wellness that brought me the oyster tour. They got products that work on that, too, over there. So, believe me, they do. All right, what's this one? This
That's
is going to be
horseradish.
So this is going to be I'm going to need a drink for this. This has got like butter in this. This looks delicious. This might be my favorite one. I don't know. My palate's changed, man, since I've gotten older. I eat stuff that I never would have eaten a long time ago and enjoy it. I mean, I'm foodie-ish. You know, I mean, I'm Gucci. I mean, I'm bougie for being Dundalk. Now, that is horseradish forward.
Oh, yeah. Open you up. Mm-hmm. People seem to love the horseradish.
That's delicious. I'm 3 for 3. We're out here at Mama's on the Half Shell. We're pimping the oysters for the Oyster Recovery Partnership and our oyster tour, which is 26 days long, 26 days, 26 ways. Our friends at Curio Wellness, Foreign Daughter, and Liberty Pure Solutions. I told Doug at Liberty Pure Solutions, he called me yesterday. He gave me these bottles of water to put on the set. I'm like, just give me a case of them. I'm not going to drink them. I drank them all. I mean, the water tastes great. There's bottles. I've been drinking it on the set, and I'm like, that tastes better even than the water that he does in my house from the water system. And I'm like, so now I'm out of bottles. So Doug needs to send some more bottles. 1-800-CLEAN-WATER. Also, our friends at the Maryland Lottery. Everybody here has been getting lottery tickets and stuff like that. Come on out to Mama's on the Half Shell. And pimp nachos for me a little bit, too. Because, like, this is the 4th location you have now, right?
4th,
So
yep.
when you say group, there really is like a Mama's group.
It is.
Give me the vision for your mom and your family and what you're trying to do here while you bring this soft shell BLT. You don't expect me to eat all this, dude.
Well, you never know. Came here hungry, you might as well eat it.
You sure your family's not Greek? This is what they do when I go to the Greek joints. They
Old
bring me too much
Irish.
food. I'm telling you, man, all my Greek friends, and then they'll come over with the get your booty too big, and they come over with all the. You're not going to start bringing desserts. You already brought chowder. This is what you really want me to eat.
That is the staple we have.
This
here.
is your thing.
Yep, people come from far and wide just to get our chowder.
I have never had this.
That's very surprising to me. As long as you've been around.
I've told you this and I'm not being offensive to you in any way. When I would be on the Canton Square, I went to Nacho Mama's. Mm-hmm. I did not go to Mama's on the Half Shell. Your dad was all proud, ran me around, showed me around, whatever. But when I got to the square, I felt like I wanted the salsa, and I was a soft shell chicken taco with that spicy squared chicken stuff, Rick's Pick spinach salad with the avocado dressing, which is still, I need that. You got that recipe?
I might be able to.
All right, give me that. And the dirty rice and the black beans and just salsa, chips, not cheesed up, not all goop. Just give me in the basket and either a margarita or a beer. I mean, one or the other. But that's when I went in, that's what your dad served me. That's what I had all my life. So he might have brought like me a mouth. Hey, try this. You know how he was, but nah, I never had the beef there. I never had a burrito there. I never had. This is the problem with the oyster tour. I get the same thing.
That's how I'm a man of repetition. You got to get.
You know what I mean?
You know what you like. Well,
so you look at me with your eyes bulging. You're like, you've never had our seafood, dude. I tried to order the cream of crab soup because that's what I would have done. And so I never would get to this.
Oh, it's filling. People.
If I eat here once a week, every week for a year, I probably fall in love with something, 5 things, and those would be the 5 things I would get.
Of course, I'm the same way.
I can't eat the whole menu, dude. Oyster crackers.
Yeah, can't
that's
go
when
wrong.
You know it's legit. You know, that's absolutely.
The real chowder.
I had the first bowl of oyster chowder of my life at Riley's Oyster last month. It was buttery and milky, and it was delicious. But I'd never ordered. Where would I order oyster chowder? I would order the cream of crab soup.
Of course.
So this is even further down the menu because it's sometimes fishy isn't what I want, right? So sometimes when you say a fish stew or a seafood, I'm thinking, all right, what's in it? So what's in it?
You got shrimps, scallops, potatoes, bacon.
I see the
creamy
potatoes up
base,
here.
some corn in there. It's a good little mix of everything.
I see a shrimpy in there. Okay. Scallop? No, it's no scallop. I'm just trying to figure out the seafood element.
They're in there.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, look, there it is right there. I got a little scallop right here. All right.
Good mix of scallops in there and shrimp.
That's smoky.
Oh, yeah.
That's smoky. See, I wouldn't – cream of crab would have been more silky, buttery.
Elegant. This
It's just down and dirty.
That real Baltimore Chowder House feel.
You know what? What I want with this is bread. This needs bread.
Of course,
this
a
needs
little
to
dipping.
be. This needs something like.
Yep.
Yeah, this needs to be all that. I see people ordering all sorts of things. I've been here for a couple hours. People ordering wings. People ordering oysters. Tell everybody what this is because you've been bragging on this.
That's been new to our menu recently. Not crazy new, but that soft shell BLT, people seem to just love it. It's a big old soft shell crab in between there.
That's big, dude. This is
it's
a lot of food, man.
Yep.
Look at that. In season too. You can't beat it. And fresh seafood. Always your family's thing, right?
Always, yeah. Since I could remember, I've been eating freshest Baltimore seafood I can get.
You know what? I think I can hear your dad's voice in showing me around down there when he was building the place, saying there wasn't a great seafood place in Canton, right? At that time,
not the time at all.
in his mind, it was like that's what was missing, and that's why he saw that opportunity to do that, right?
Yep. And then they all started opening up everywhere. Someone had the vision. We all got to go after what it is.
Well, thank goodness for that, man. And the catfish and getting them out of the bay. Everybody's trying to get catfish on their menu.
Yep.
They even changed the name of it, right? What are they calling it? They have a new name. I haven't even learned what it is. It's like Port Covington. It's still Port Covington to me. I haven't figured out the new name yet. I'm still calling this Painter's Mill, not Foundry Row. You know,
the peninsula. Is that what you're talking about? Baltimore Peninsula.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You mean Port Covington.
Yeah. For me, from what I know.
It's like if they renamed Camden Yards at this point, where you would call it Dewey Cheatham House Stadium because somebody puts their name on. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to do that.
No.
I mean, even CFG Bank Arena will always be the Civic Center.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
For me, it's First Mariner Arena because that's what I knew as my childhood.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, so you never called it the Arena. Okay.
Yep.
Always be the Civic Center to me. So I've been very nostalgic. Howard Scher is going to be my next guest. You don't mind that I share some oysters and
Not at all.
I'll cut that crab sandwich up right now. I can't eat the whole thing. Do you eat soft shell? Yeah, he's not ready to tackle that. We're out here at Mama's on a Half Shell. It's all brought to you by our friends at Maryland Lottery. I'm very appreciative for the relationship, for the stories, for allowing me to share my broken heart about your dad. And I literally got to tell a Prince Edward Island funny story that allowed me to, I swear, Howard, would you have bet $1 that I would have cried talking to him, talking about his father? I absolutely was going to cry, and I made it through without crying. So for that, I deserve the. And I can hear your dad say, "Don't cry. What's wrong with you, man?
Flick you on
soup."
the head with his half finger. That's how I got it.
Well, all right.
Yep.
So touch nubs. There you go. Just nubs.
Fake
there you
one.
go. All right. Finn is out here. Come out and see him. You're here most of the time, right? So I said.
Primarily, yep.
I'm always in Nacho Mama's in Towson eating the burrito quesadilla. So you'll find me belly. My wife gets a Jones for it, and it's on. What are we having for dinner tonight? We go to Nacho Mama's and get the burrito. And sometimes we get it there. A lot of times we bring it home. A lot of times and when I tell them over there, you know some people there, right? You can.
Oh yeah.
And they know me now because I'm that customer. You know, I ordered the large salsa, and then it wasn't on the menu online, and this and that. I'm like. They bring me the large salsa, and it's like a little. No. I want like
container.
Yeah, I want. Well, no, not like. I want this much. I want this much salsa with every little thing of chips.
Of course, that spicy kick on our salsa, it's second to none. That's for sure.
Right. So yeah, I just promoted Nacho Mama's for it because that's where you'll find me usually. But we'll come out here, and I am surprised by how big it is, right? So for your brand and for who you were in Canton, for anybody that hasn't been out here, and I have people that don't know, when did you open? A year ago?
December 11th last year.
So it's not even a year.
No, not even a full year yet.
All right, so I don't feel so stupid being the first guy to eat the seafood. Now, this is seafood chowder, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, I want to contains pork. All right, good. That's good. That's why it tastes so good. My wife and I made a batch of crab soup last month, Maryland crab, and we put okra in it, we put lima beans in it, and we started with a bacon sort of the roux began with a bacon to give it a little bit of
flavor.
smokiness, and then she uses fire roasted tomato that gives it even a little bit more. And when I say that to Damie or to some foodie people, I mean, Bill Cole, I remember him looking at me, he's like, that ain't crab soup. And I'm like, all right, it's like my buddy Ron saying, hey, do you want to go see Styx? And he says to me, that ain't Styx. Doesn't have Dennis DeYoung. It ain't Styx. And I'm like, man, you got to get up with the program, You got to evolve with the times and get out here, get off the cream of crab and get on to seafood chowder. I feel all bougie. All right, Howard's going to be here. We're going to be honoring a late, great friend. One of the reasons I'm wearing a Skipjacks jersey, to honor Scunny a little bit. I'm sure he went to Skipjack games. I'm wearing my Colts belt buckle. But I did pick this up on the Oyster Tour. This is my Skipjacks pennant. No, Howie, you can't have it. And my wife's going to have to figure out how to make it work on, regular, plug it in. Because it says 1 AA battery, and I'm thinking – by next Tuesday, I'll think it's 420 all day. I am Nestor. We're out here doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. We're Nacho. I said not.
Half shell.
I knew I was going to screw that up. At least I didn't cry. Back for more out here in Owings Mills at Mama's on the Half Shell. Stay with us.